The Vedic Horoscope of the 4th of July, 1776, Part 1, The Planetary Periods. When a Vedic astrologer is asked for the reading of a horoscope, most people only listen to the interpretation of it. But it is helpful to understand some graphics that represent a horoscope, as in that way there is better understanding of how astrology works. In other words, it is very helpful to know the basics about the graphics and tables provided in astrology and what one looks for. One thing is to listen to what a birth certificate says, and another thing is to read the details about it. The attention given to something can be partial or full, and to see the graphics help more. Like Max Planck says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. In Western astrology, one is familiar to the sun signs in the tropical or terrestrial sky, which is the field on which the 12 signs of the Zodiac are drawn. For example, on 21st of March, we say that the sun is at 0 degrees of Aries, and astronomically, the sun is at the equatorial line. This is known as the spring equinox, and 3 months later, on the 21st of June, the sun reaches the 0 degrees of Cancer, having crossed the signs of Aries, Taurus and Gemini in what is known as the summer solstice. 3 months after this, the sun reaches the autumnal equinox, having crossed the sign of Cancer, Leo and Virgo. From here the sun crosses the signs of Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius, and it reaches the winter solstice on the 21st of December, where it is found at 0 degrees of Capricorn. From this point on, the sun crosses the signs of Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces, thus returning to the beginning of the zodiac. In Vedic astrology, one is familiar with the moon signs in the sidereal or the celestial sky, which is among the stars. In the year 285, both skies, the tropical and the sidereal, were at 0 degrees of Aries, but because of the precession, in which there is a shift of around 1 degree of arc every 72 years, the sidereal sky is now, in 2024, at more than 24 degrees of difference. For example, while in the West one celebrates the spring equinox on the 21st of March, in India they celebrate the entry of the sun in the sidereal sign of Aries on the 14th of April, thus a difference of some 24 days by 2024. Western astrologers do not have the planetary periods, which are based on the Nakshatra or constellations crossed by the natal moon, and for them, the planetary transits are more relevant. In Vedic astrology, there are 12 signs of the zodiac, 27 Naksatras or constellations, and 108 Navamsas. And in this astrology, one is familiar not with the sun signs, but with the Janma Rasi, meaning the birth moon sign, and with the Janma Nakshatra, or the birth moon constellation. The most important thing to understand from the dynamic of Vedic astrology is that the game of life starts from the position of the moon at birth. And for example, when for someone the moon at birth is at 0 degrees of Aries or Mesa, this means that the person has the natal moon in Aries and in the nakshatra of Ashvini, which is ruled by Ketu. Therefore we say that this person was born under the period of Ketu, which is the node south of the moon called Kauda in Western astrology. And 7 years later the person is going to be under the influence of the period of Venus, the ruler of Bharani. This is the next nakshatra to Ashvini. When someone has the natal moon at 6 degrees 40 minutes in Aries, we say that the natal moon is in the middle of the nakshatra of Ashvini, and therefore the person has a balance of 3.5 years of the major period of Ketu, the ruler of Ashvini, as each nakshatra is ruled by a planet. In other words, in this particular case, the person is going to live for 3.5 years in the major period of Ketu, before living for 20 years under the effects of the major period of Venus. The rulership of signs and nakshatras was established thousands of years ago, and that is how we follow nowadays this system. The planetary periods are based on the nakshatras, and they have different spans of time, according to their ruler. Just as we are familiar now with the months from January through to December, we have a sequence of rulers in the nakshatras, and they are ruled from Ketu, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury. The first 9 nakshatras are ruled according to this planetary sequence, and the second 9 nakshatras repeat the sequence. There are 3 sets in all of the 9 nakshatras in the zodiac. There are 3 sets in all of 9 nakshatras in the zodiac, or 27 nakshatras or constellations. The duration and time of those planetary periods are respectively 7, 20 years, 6, 10, 7, 18, 16, 19, then 17 years. For example, one is going to see 20 years of the major period of Venus, but only 6 years of the major periods of the Sun. In Vedic astrology, a basic square represents the horoscope, and this square is divided into 12 sectors or houses, and each one of those houses shows different designations, which the reading astrologer focuses upon. House number 1 is the sector or house that represents the self, then counterclockwise. House 2 represents the right eye, family and voice. House 3, expression, communication, dreams, younger siblings. Number 4, mother, education, mind, mentality and vehicles. 5, love, children, pets. 6, enemies, obstacles, disease, service. 7, associations, partner, spouse. 8, death, sexuality, research, unexpected results. 9, father, religion, dharma or duty, belief system. 10, profession, economic development. 11, desires, which is karma, earnings, older siblings. 12, liberation or moksha, losses and falls. Each house has a character, and each planet has a character as well. We can see the characters of the houses like the room in a house. By thinking about our friends or people around, or even things, we can see the character of the planets. House 1 is like the living room, where we spend most of the time. House 4 is like the kitchen, and House 5 is like the playing room. In each room we have a different activity and experience, a different mood and thought. House 12 is like the bedroom, where we sleep and lose our notion of time. In regard to our friends, relatives or people around us, the character of the planets is like fitting them to those we know or encounter. The sun is like the father or the politician. The authority, the moon, is like the mother, nursing and caring. Mars is like the sports person, the brother, the practical one. Mercury is like the news reporter, the intelligent, the fact giver. Jupiter is like the teacher, the guru, the priest. Venus is like the youngster, the dancer, the ornaments, entertainment, happiness, enjoyment and desires. Saturn is like the wise, the elderly, the tactful. Rahu is like the trickster, the controversial, the wicked. Ketu is like Merlin the magician, the strange one, or even the mystical. Uranus in India is Indra, the lord of storms that brings drastic changes. He is the chief of the Devas, or gods in heaven. Neptune in India is Varuna, the lord of the oceans and the subconscious, the dreams and the inspiration. Pluto in India is Lord Yamaraj, the lord of death, and he is also the lord of dharma, or eternal duty. Pluto is the transformer as well as the reformer. Students of astrology are familiar to the designations of the 12 houses in a horoscope, but for mundane or political astrology, the designations of the houses are different. House 1, the people of a country, public health, the feeling, thinking, and willing of the people. 2, assets of the country and the banking system. 3, communication system, telephone, radio, TV, internet, newspapers, roads, railways, airports, libraries, and distribution. 4, agriculture, lands, mining, educative system, school buildings, vehicles, the feelings of the people. 5, higher education, amusement grounds, cinemas, situation of children or pets, etc. 6, defense system, health service, industry, law systems or litigations, open enemies, debts. 7, foreign secretary, diplomacy, foreign affairs, international contracts, wars or frictions. 8, mortality, crematoriums and cemeteries. 9, law structure, like solicitors and judges, sciences, religions. 10, government, ruling powers, administrative institutions. 11, national revenues, wages. 12, hospitals, institutions, secret enemies, and losses. Join us in part 2. Any comments are welcome. If you like it, you should put a ring on it.